Welcome to the NBA Triple Double Show powered by SportsMemo. I am your host, Ronald Cabang, also known as UCapper on sportsmemo.com and on Twitter at U_capper. Before we get into the three games we will be breaking down today, I do have to talk about some promos. And we got three really good ones today. The one that I've been talking about since last week, this is the last day to get the 7-day all access package for $69, and that's under $10 per day. That's a 7-day all access package for your favorite capper. You can use it as many times as you want. Today is the last day, like I said, and it's only $10 more than the 3-day all access package. So you're getting 4 extra days there for just $10 more. So no coupon needed for that one. You can use it, like I said, you can use it as many times as you want with as many different cappers as you want. But today is the last day for that one. Again, no promo code needed for that. And it is Monday, so $9 Mondays, all picks and packages on the site from all your favorite handicappers over at sportsmemo.com for just $9 right now on the website. So make sure right after the show, head over to sportsmemo.com, check out all what's available. And one last thing too, $50 off any 30-day package, whether it's specific sport or the all access package. This deal is available through Sunday at midnight. This coming Sunday at midnight. Use promo code SPORTS50 for that deal. Once again, that's $50 off any 30-day package. I would recommend the all access. Obviously, I think from a lot of our cappers here, we do more than just one sport. So being able to get cappers to do the all access on the 30 days would be probably the best deal out of all of them. And there's, like I said, that's Sport 50. Sport 50. There's no S. Sport 50. Yeah, that's it, man. Make sure you guys hit the like and subscribe button as well. And head over to sportsmemo.com after the show and snatch up those deals. With that said, let's get the panel in here. What's up, Matt and Dr. Chuck? It is Monday. We had it was a pretty, I would say it was a pretty good weekend for myself. Starting to get back in the winning ways. Yesterday between NBA and NFL, 4-2 on the day. So hopefully we just continue to go in that direction with the dubs. How about you guys? How was your weekend? Dr. Chuck, let's start with you.
No, I like coming on here on Mondays because you guys normally this kickstarts my week a little bit better, and it was not a good day on Sunday for me or followers. Obviously, I've come on the show a lot of times and reported that NBA had gone well, but we got I got the Moneyline Matt hook 3 times this weekend, so now I know what he felt like last show when he was like, these props are killing me. I had Paolo, he needed 19, he got 18, and sat, which is painful because I didn't expect the Sixers to just completely blow them out. I got hooked a couple other times with Steven Adams. So yeah, we're going to turn it around today and put that in the past. And football wasn't great either, but it was better than NBA. So NBA is, like you said, getting into the groove here. We've got a full month of NBA
I know you're a strong SDQL guy, Dr. Chuck. So we have a lot more data to work with now, and we're hopefully starting to hit our stride. Matt, how was your weekend?
Yeah, honestly, my weekend was one of those where it was about 50, like literally dead on 50%. And NBA, I went 8-8. NFL, I went 6-6, but up 4 units. So really can't complain as long as we ended up units at the end of the day. I had an NFL package up this week that a couple people grabbed. We went 3-2, up 3 units. And then with the NBA, it's just been back and forth. And honestly, kind of to your point last time, I might need to start limiting myself with the volume because I'll literally be going into like the late night slate or something like that with a 3-1 record or 4-1 record, something along those lines. And then I'll have like a late game where I'm like, I kind of like that game. I could put a play out for that. And I end up losing and going 3-2 or something like that. So, the calls that I'm making, like I'm making some really good plus money calls. Had the Rockets at plus 140 when they won outright over the Thunder. That was one of them. And then I'll just have some stupid shit calls too, where I'm like, Matt, what are you doing? So I think I'm going to get a little more strict with my plays going forward, start limiting myself with maybe 3 or 4 and see how we do there. Yeah. Like the chat, keep it simple. I like it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I know. Sometimes when you get on a hot streak, you start to feel like you get on a little burner, right? And you get that heat check moment, and then it humbles you, right?
100%.
All right, yeah, that's exactly how I felt with the beginning of this season. Really hot streak, and then hit a little wall there. So starting to come back to life a little bit. Yeah, man. Well, let's get this week started with some dubs. First game up, Cavs Raptors here. Cavs 13-7 on the season. They did just play yesterday, getting the win and the cover over Detroit. They got the hook on the closing line, but if you got it early, you obviously took care of it with a couple points. They've won 5 of their last 6 games, so they're kind of starting to hit their groove a little bit. This is their 3rd game in 4 nights though, and last game of a 3-game road trip as well. Raptors 10-9 on the season. They kind of been struggling with a lot of injuries this season. But they are coming off of a nice win over the Mavs on Saturday. They should be fairly rested. This is their 3rd home game in a row, and also a 3rd game in 6 nights compared to 4 nights for the Cavs. From an injury perspective, both teams continuing to struggle with injuries. Cleveland, Rubio, Love, Windler, Jarrett Allen, and Lamar Stevens are out. LeVert is probable, so he should be able to play tonight. Raptors, they're going to be without Porter and Achua. And then we got Siakam, Barnes, and Banton all seem to be true game time decisions. So we won't likely know their status until after the afternoon, probably the after 1 o'clock injury report status. This one's tough with the key guys coming back, possibly coming back for Toronto here. Siakam has been missing a whole bunch of games. If he comes back, it might touch the line a little bit, but at the same time, when you get a key player coming back, it could kind of mess up that chemistry, right, guys? Matt, what do you think about this one?
Yeah, I'm dead on with you. When key players come back like that, I actually tend to fade and go the opposite way because it takes us a second to get that synergy back and to kind of see how the lineup works again with all the stars. And, like you said, this has been a Raptors team that has had a ton of injuries this season. Players in the lineup, players out of the lineup. It's tough to get that synergy and consistency just like that right when sliding someone back in. But regardless, for me, when I first looked at this line, I got to admit, I was a little confused why I was seeing the Cavs at +2.5. But once you dive in and look at everything, all the game time decisions, the injuries, everything that surrounds this matchup, you kind of understand a little more because to your point, there's a lot of players who might miss this game with Jarrett Allen, Kevin Love, Karis LeVert, Lamar Stevens, and a lot of that does potentially affect the offensive flow and potentially the defense on top of that. And then when you look at that Cavs team, if these players do miss, then you're relying on backup guys like Robin Lopez, Isaac Okoro, and Raul Neto to come in and play big roles for this Cleveland Cavaliers team. And then when you look at the Raptors, they're kind of in a similar boat with their players, or with injured players, they're potentially missing some guys as well, but have a lot of their key guys in their lineup still. Fred VanVleet, Gary Trent Jr., OG Anunoby, who's really stepped up his game this season, and then Scotty Barnes, who is once again a true game time decision, and then guys who are questionable or game time decisions as well with like Siakam and Blanton. So again, with so much potentially changing throughout the course of this day, it's hard for me to sit here and pick a side. So for me, I'm actually going to say pass on this game. But one thing that I am looking at is the under 215.5 points. Toronto is averaging 111.4 points per game at home this season, but is averaging 108.3 over their last 3. And some of that is also because they're missing some key players in that lineup. And this once again holds true in this matchup. The Toronto Raptors are probably sitting there right now, not exactly knowing what their lineup is going to look like going into this game. And then when you look at the Cleveland Cavaliers, they're averaging 114.2 points on the road this season, 106 points per game over their last 3. So again, they got some guys in and out of the lineup. Kevin Love might miss, Jarrett Allen. And without those guys and with players coming in and out of the lineup, it's tough to consistently score points. And another thing that it helps to do is when these players are missing, the opposing team can center in on guys like Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland, who are their primary ball handlers. They're the guys that get the primary usage as well. So I think in this matchup, they're going to be more prone to double teams, trapping, and getting the ball out of their hands into some of those secondary guys like Robin Lopez, Isaac Okoro, Raul Neto, guys that probably aren't going to beat you if they have the ball in their hands a good amount. Then when you take a look a little deeper and look at the Cavs, They run the 29th slowest pace throughout the NBA, while the Toronto Raptors have the 22nd slowest pace. So two very slow teams, and again, going to be missing key guys, so it could make them potentially even slower. Then, furthermore, when you take a look at the shot clock, how early do these teams shoot in that 24-second shot clock? The Cavs are the slowest team in the NBA, taking the most time throughout a shot clock to get a shot up or to try and score points, and the Raptors are 22nd. So again, that also backs it. And when you're this thin, your key guys also have potential to maybe get in foul trouble. If they get in foul trouble, there's no depth behind that anymore for guys to come in and score points. So because of that, I like to look here at this under 215.5. The spread here, the money line, is just a pass for me until I know more about this game.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, especially with the guys, the names of the guys that are on the Toronto team that we need to worry about. Mitch, I think you mentioned the Cavs team total over and Toronto going over almost every game this month. What I looked at was actually the home games this month, and there wasn't too many that went over. Actually, I'm looking at it now. It's 1-3-1 to the over in home games during the month of November. So it looks like most of the over games are on the road for Toronto here. Just one thing to think about there. Also, Jared Allen not being there for the Cavs should be a key component, right? I mean, I think he's an important piece of that team. Most people think about it from a defensive perspective, but also from an offensive perspective. He's that guy in the low post that gets the second chances for them. Dr. Chuck, what do you think about how he affects this game or side or total on this game?
Yeah, I have a lot of what Matt said was an amazing setup. I love all the different aspects of him landing on, especially where he ended up landing. 216 is a really, not surprisingly, 216 is a pretty important number, or right in that range. It's a pretty important number, and just right off the bat, the Raptors are seemingly an over team, but there's that threshold 216. When it's a 216 or lower total, Raptors go under 80% of the time. That's only 5 times, but that's 4 unders. But right off the bat, just from an interesting aspect of the fact that we're sports handicapping, we're trying to break down a game, and not necessarily are we bookmakers, but we are analyzing what the books do and stuff like that. And if there was ever a game that could make anyone in the chat or anyone of the three of us or anybody that does the show capable of being a bookmaker, let's look at this game. These two played in Toronto last month, first game of the year. It was -3 Raptors. The total was 215. And basically, this is as milquetoast of an against the spread versus straight up matchup as you get in the NBA. Both these teams are what you see is what you get. I think the Cavs are 13-7 straight up and against the spread, and I think the Raptors are 10-9 straight up and against the spread. And they're both, I think the Cavs are 10-10 over under, and I think the Raptors are 9-1 over under. And so it's phenomenal that it could land this way. I think the bookmakers see the Cavs playing the Raptors and say, "Thank God we know what to do here." And for that reason, I sound like I'm on Shark Tank, and for that reason, I'm definitely out on the side. I love the under in this. I think it's fantastic what Matt came to. Interesting, in that first game, it was Spida's first game in Cleveland. He kind of went off. Toronto was mostly healthy. Garland, I don't remember if Garland got hurt in the game, but he only played 12 minutes, and I think that's a big difference tonight. Jared Allen, you would worry without Jared Allen that you would think it just leads toward an over. I don't know if fading the Raptors, for me personally, I'm not trying to disagree with Matt, but I think Bobby Boucher basically plays Pascal Siakam when he's not there. And I don't think that adjusting to Siakam stepping in there for Boucher in the starting lineup and basically being that same character is a whole lot different. Plus he didn't miss, Dame misses 2-3 months. And that's when you want to fade the Blazers, when he comes right back and everything changes because he holds the ball and all that stuff. Van Fleet's still running the offense. I wouldn't worry if you really are dead set on the Raptors and taking advantage of this spot and the Cavs being tired and hurt and LeVert, may or may not play. I'm assuming, unless Vegas is just completely punting on the spread and total because they've seen this before and this is how it goes, I'm assuming they think that Barnes and Siakam are playing tonight. And I also think they think LeVert is playing tonight. As far as the props go, if you've been following me, you know that we're all over certain situations, and it's always situational. If LeVert is out, you want to get Dean Wade on the over rebounds. When LeVert is out and Allen is out, Dean Wade picks up the slack and almost picks up the slack more than Mobley. At times, he does pick up more than Mobley. You don't really want to play the Wade over rebounds if LeVert is going to play. And then watch and see, keep in mind, all the props we put out, you can play in game too. You can play them both ways. There's a lot of opportunity for in-game props, especially if you're in a legal state. In a legal state like Michigan for Matt, Ron and I aren't there yet, but there's a lot of ways to play these type of things too, because things even out over the game and the books have to overreact. But yeah, I think you're getting this 215. It landed 213 last time. I think it might be even a little bit less for a lot of the reasons that I think the Cavs on the 3 out of 4 nights are more likely to shoot a lower percentage and late in the shot clock. And I like that even more, but I don't really want to be on the side. I think Vegas has this pretty nailed. I want to see if Ron has more edges in the SDQL. It's just amazing to look this up and to find everything is pretty much just what you see is what you get.
Yeah. Well, I do want to call out that you really called out the water boy Bobby Boucher instead of Chris Boucher.
I said Chris Bobby Boucher.
But I can see where Mitch is going with this over. I think Toronto has been an over team when they're favored, and they are. I believe they are in this situation here, if I'm not mistaken. So I do get it. One thing that I was looking at too was when Jarrett Allen has been out of the lineup. Dating back to last season, they have been in over team without him. I think they're 17-13 to the over without him. Only 1-2 to the over this season, though. So that's one thing to look into. But one thing that with Allen out of the lineup dating back to last season, they are just 8-20-2 against the spread when he's out of the lineup, including 1-2 against the spread this season. And that one cover was yesterday by the hook, so it's pretty tight. I think he's such a big part of that squad, like I mentioned earlier, both offensively and defensively. Raptors typically a strong home team as well, 7-2 straight up, 6-3 against the spread at home so far this season. Also, they play up to their opponents, 5-0 against the spread against teams with a winning record. To me, I would lean towards the Raptors here, with or without those players. I think they've shown enough to prove that they could put up points and play solid defense without those key guys like Siakam. They just have a lot of length. I think Van Vliet has been playing pretty well as well. And Anunoby and all those guys. I think they have a really deep squad, and it's going to be interesting to see when everyone comes back to full strength, how that affects the rotation. And this could be a big positive for them towards the end of the season with everyone getting solid minutes here. So that's the way that I would look at it. I would look towards the Raptors here. I wouldn't mess with the total because I could see it going either way. I see the total going up since the open too. I'm not gonna mess with it. Just to lean towards the Raptors here. Maybe I'll probably look at it a little bit stronger later, but right now just to lean. Next up, Bulls Jazz here. Bulls 8-11 on the season. They are coming off an OT loss to the Thunder, but they did beat the Celtics and the Bucks just before that. They are rested. Haven't played since Friday. This is the third game of a 6-game road trip, though. Not too long ago, the Jazz were sitting on top of the Western Conference leaderboard. Now they're 8th with a 12-10 record. Lost 7 of their last 9 games, including the last 4 straight. They last played on Saturday, but this is their third game in 4 nights. Injury perspective, Lonzo Ball still out for the Bulls. Caruso is looking doubtful for the Jazz. Rudy Gay continues to be out. Conley and Bomaro are listed as game time decisions, and I don't think they play tonight from some of the reports that I've seen. And then Markkanen, who's been their best player this season, is also looking like a true game time decision so far. I don't know, guys. I would think Markkanen might sit this one out here. Non-conference game. You get a key conference game tomorrow against up next against the Clippers. That's the way that I see it. I feel like the more important game is the next one against the Clippers. Playing a non-conference game, I can see that they've been on a losing streak, so they might want to get the dub. I don't know. What are your thoughts on this one, Matt?
Yeah, so I think that's a big thing that you have to keep an eye on is definitely Lauri Markkanen. Like you said, I'm wondering how serious is this injury? They're on a 4-game losing streak. He's facing his old team in the Chicago Bulls. He hasn't faced them with the Jazz just yet. He's faced them with the Cavs when he was with the Cavs, but now with the Jazz. So that's definitely something you need to keep an eye on. But for me, you guys know I love spots and situations, and this is a spot and situations where I'm backing the Jazz regardless of Lauri Markkanen playing or not playing. I'm going to rely on that injury replacement theory here if he does not, because, again, I do think this is a good spot for the Jazz. The Jazz have now lost 4 games in a row, with 3 of those games being on the road, and their last game was a heartbreaker to the Phoenix Suns, in which they lost by 1 point, which I don't know if anyone watches like just every single NBA game like I do, but that was just an end of game somewhat collapse. I don't want to call it a collapse, but they really took away any chance they had. The Suns had the ball with 25 seconds left, and the Jazz just didn't foul. They just didn't foul. They let them run the clock all the way down to 2 seconds, take a shot, and then the Jazz got the rebound like they were going to do something with it, and the shot clock just ran out. So I would assume they have a bad taste in their mouth after that, and I surely do too, because Devin Booker was the one who got the inbound, and if they fouled them, I would have hit my overprop. But regardless, that's neither here nor there. But again, I do like this Jazz spot because of that. When you lose a game in that fashion, when you've lost 4 games in a row, and now you're finally coming home to a team like the Chicago Bulls, I think it's a spot where you definitely look to get right. As for the Bulls, they're currently on their 3rd game of a 6-game road trip, so could be getting a little tired here. They won their first game against the Bucks, and they lost in overtime to the Oklahoma City Thunder. Now, this is a Bulls team that has lost 2 games in a row already 4 times this season. So going on a losing streak is not something that's out of the ordinary for the Chicago Bulls. On the road as well, the Bulls are 3-6, while the Jazz are currently 6-2 at home. And when you look at these two teams, they really are kind of polar opposite. The Utah Jazz have the 2nd-ranked offense throughout the entire NBA with the 26th defense to back it. With the Bulls, however, they have the 20th-ranked offense and the 4th-ranked defense. And personally, when I see the Chicago Bulls having the 4th-ranked defense, I don't exactly buy into that because I don't think they're that good defensively. The Bulls have given up 112 points per game, and over their last 3 have given up 114.5. So it has been going up a little bit over the last couple. And with them being on this road trip, an extended road trip, I do think those points per game against could creep up a little bit. Now they're going against a Jazz team who has multiple scorers, even if Lauri Markkanen does sit. Guys like Jordan Clarkson have really been stepping up, guys like Malik Beasley. And, this is just a team where I think they have the capable players and even players coming off the bench, like someone like Colin Sexton, who, if he has to have an elevated role, he's a player who's very willing to do so. So again, because of that, I actually have more trust at this point in time for the Jazz to win at home against the Chicago Bulls than I do the Bulls going on the road to win against the Jazz. So because of this, I think the Jazz correct their ship. They get right after a 4-game losing streak and get a win at home here. So I'm going to ride the Jazz -1.5. This is actually a play that I do have on SportsMemo, so I do like it to that point. So again, I'm on the Jazz tonight.
Yeah, I can see where you're going with it. I do have a difference in opinion, though, to be honest. And this is just to talk the game out. And I know they've been traveling the last 6 games, right? They had 2 road games, 1 home game, 2 road games, then they come back home. So there's some travel fatigue there. Mm-hmm. Also, I believe this is third game in 4 nights as well. And one thing that I noticed about the Jazz is they haven't really covered as favorites, right? So when I looked at it, I think they're I just had it up. Sorry, they're 2-4 straight up, 1-5 against the spread as favorites. In that one game that they covered, they covered against the Lakers in November, and this is the Lakers starting lineup: Anthony Davis, Austin Reeves, Troy Brown, Kendrick Nunn, and Wenyen Gabriel. So I mean, obviously they should have been able to take care of business there as favorites against that type of squad. But other than that, then they're 0-5 against the spread. Other than that single game as a favorite, so they haven't been really covering in this specific situation. And also the Bulls, they're starting to play like a bet-on team. They did beat the Celtics and the Bucks right before that loss against the Thunder. And the Thunder really they've been playing pretty tight against a lot of teams this season. So it's not surprising that they would have the Bulls lost in that sort of like a letdown spot there. So to me, I don't think I'm gonna bet it, but I would lean towards the Bulls for those multiple situations. Dr. Chuck, it seems like you might be the tiebreaker here for this game. What are your thoughts on this one? Oh, I think you're on mute.
I assume you guys aren't going to be shocked that Matt and I might have a season-long battle of Jazz versus non-Jazz. I don't need any. I didn't need a whole lot of motivation to fade the Jazz tonight, and when they hung home court advantage, and then when home court advantage disappeared all the way to 1.5, I'm on the Bulls money line. I talk about this constantly on the show. I have only appeared, I suppose, on Monday's shows. So a week goes by of the Jazz after I bash them in some way or another on this show. The sell sign, I think, was inevitable. I think the sell sign is almost there. I think if Markkanen sits and Conley plays, I think the Bulls might hammer them. The way that they play defense. So you took a lot of what I was going to say. That Laker, they drubbed the Lakers and put up like 1,000 points on them, and the Lakers were nothing at that point. And that was when the Jazz were still surprising everybody. I shouldn't probably give teams a pass, but you mentioned it. They had a Celtics win and a Bucks win, and I'm sure Billy Donovan didn't say to let down or anything like this. But I mean, Levine and Vooch and DeRozan and company are thinking, all right, we got those 2 wins. We can step off the effort level and we take the Thunder down. And that's not what happened. And I think maybe we're getting a little bit of a better line because of it. But yeah, I don't need Vegas to beg me to bet the Jazz anymore. I have no interest in betting the Jazz. I don't think that there's any motivation to win. I hate that it has come to this because, they had such a fun start and it looked like a fun team and a bunch of guys that don't want to lose, even though I thought that they were going to be Rockets, Thunder, Magic-esque all season. I think DeRozan plays well here, and they've been really bad in this 4-game stretch against the 2 and the 3, and that's not a 2 and 3 that you want to have bled out against. I guess I would want to see if Markkanen is going to play because maybe it would move back up and you'd get a bucket, but I'm on the money line anyway. So I don't know if the Jazz are ever going to have a buy sign for me again. I think maybe it could come back to that eventually. I think this is a lot of points also. If you're not going to have Markkanen and you are going to have Conley, I don't really know how much of a game time decision Conley is. I just see that he's, there's no decision. As far as those lights go, where there's like that, red, yellow, green, Markkanen has a green game time decision, and Conley has a gray. So, and no, Mitch, I do not hate them at all. I think that hating a team versus Wembanyama is just it's a whole different level of this sport. The Jazz, if the Jazz make the playoffs, what's the end game here? There's a whole bunch of teams that could win the Super Bowl in the NFL. There's a whole bunch of teams that could win the World Series. There's a couple teams that could win the NBA Finals, a couple. And there's no point in continuing to win. And I think it's another loss tonight. And as a favorite, this is not the role that they want to be in. They're that dog that beats teams outright and against the spread and not as a favorite. And so Matt and I, hopefully every Monday we get to battle on whether or not the Jazz are better or worse than the week before.
Yeah. I think the interesting thing is, though, if Markkanen is out, I think the Bulls become the favorite, right? So it's like a flip-flop. We were like, all right, we don't want to take the Jazz as favorites, but now they're going to be the dog if Laurie is probably confirmed out. So that's going to be an interesting way to cap this game. You got a rebuttal, Matt? You want to say something back to Chuck?
I mean, honestly, you guys know how I am. I like to play spots, and it's the same thing. Like it's playing the Houston Rockets against the Oklahoma City Thunder. Probably not a ton of people would have liked to side with the Rockets there, but I felt pretty comfortable about it. Same thing with the Grizzlies top bet or the T-Wolves top bet. Those are all situational spots that I like to play. I like teams coming off of losses. I like teams being in a situation with their back up against the wall. And the way I like to look at the NBA sometimes, if you're on a 4-game losing streak, a 5-game losing streak, you ain't going to lose all of them. You're going to win at some point. And, sometimes it works for you. Sometimes it doesn't. As of late, it has worked for me. So I'm going to continue riding it, and we'll see what happens tonight.
Yeah, you do a better job of catching that falling knife than I do. All right, so last game up on the board here, Lakers and Pacers. Pacers 11-8 on the season, good for fourth in the Eastern Conference standings. I think that's something that's surprising a lot of people. They did just lose to the Clippers in the first of a 7-game Western Conference road trip. Played yesterday. They didn't have to travel though because they play the Lakers here. So 2 straight games in LA. Lakers are 7-11. They've won 2 straight, including 5 of their last 6 games. So they're starting to put things together here. We gotta look at those. We gotta look at who those wins were against though. 3 of them were against the Spurs, 1 against the shorthanded Pistons and a Nets team that was playing second game of back-to-back road games, and they were missing Kyrie, Seth Curry, and Ben Simmons. So I don't know, kind of misleading with these wins here. And Pat Bev is still suspended. LeBron is probable. AD is questionable. I do think both of them have a shot to play tonight. Pacers, they're going to be without Daniel Teese and Andrew Nembhard. He was actually been putting up some minutes before he got hurt. I believe he's going to be out again tonight. Man, can we trust this Lakers team? I actually have a best bet on this one. So yeah, I'll be talking about that later. So, Dr. Chuck, let's start with you. How do you feel on this one?
Yeah, so I really like your best bet, and so I'll try not to give it away with. I think AD's playing. I would cap this as LeBron and AD playing. I would cap this as not a good spot for the Pacers. I think the line's interesting because you mentioned it. You know, they've kind of turned it around a little bit. This Lakers team is not a team anyone can ever fully trust. And as you said, you have to look at some of the wins, but they're getting wins, things that weren't happening early in the season. It didn't matter who was on the court. And so I'm pretty interested in, I think, all right, so it's fun. I really only have this from a prop perspective. I'm not going to lie. I don't know if Mitch is following me or if he has my plays, or I don't know. But yeah, if Nembhard is listed out, you got to find Mathurin props and you got to hammer them as soon as you find out that Nembhard's out. He's going to score more points than the books put out there any game, and it's hard to find him because he will be a 6th man. He'll be or 7th man off of the bench. You know, he's not going to be in the starting lineup even when Nembhard is listed out, but Duarte is still out, and so it's just too much value on Mathurin. Halliburton is always dangerous for a triple-double with a total like this, and that's going to be worth a look. As well as I really like that potential AD Miles Turner down low. I don't trust Miles Turner to stay down there with his new methods. I really like the opposing 5 against a Miles Turner to go over their rebounds, and with AD just coming back, not sure how healthy. If he gets listed in, you're going to get like an 8.5 or a 9.5, and he's going to have double-digit rebounds. A lot of ways too. And it looks like Mitch says most places are now listing Benedict Mathurin props. So make sure you go get him because he's a shooter, and Halliburton is a distributor. And when he is on the court at the same time as Tyrese, he is looking for him to score. And Mathurin thinks that he's better than LeBron James, as he told us at the draft. And so this is a really good spot for those props tonight as well. So look for some AD, follow me on Twitter, look for some AD, look for some Mathurin, see what Halliburton's, you might get 4-1, 5-1 on him to have a triple double. And he's one of the worst numbers out there, but a lot of different ways to attack this. I'm excited to hear all of how Ron is going to as well, but final thought, it'd be hard for me to go against this team if AD and LeBron are on the court tonight, the way LeBron has been rolling.
Yeah, interesting thing on that under. I know Mitch, I see you on the under there, so looks like we're gonna be. I didn't play the total there, but one couple things that I saw: Pacers on the second game of back-to-back, 3-0 to the over. Lakers facing teams on the second game of back-to-back, 4-1 to the over. This is the highest total for the Lakers so far this season, though, so that's one thing to think about as well. Even though they've been going towards the over in certain situations, this high of a total is pretty tough. What do you think, Matt, on either on the total or the side?
Yeah, so for this one, I'm more on the side, if anything, and I hate to say it, but it's a spot that I actually would love to back the Lakers. The Lakers are playing far better basketball as of late, winning 5 of their last 6. And I agree, some of those wins were definitely against some weaker opponents, with 3 of them coming against the San Antonio Spurs. But all in all, it does look like a different Lakers team out there. They're playing harder. They're knocking down shots. They have role players who are coming to play, like Lonnie Walker. Lonnie Walker's been playing some very good basketball as of late. And they just seem like a team that's starting to gel a little bit and are starting to have some synergy on the court. But when you look at the Pacers as well, they've been playing good basketball. They've won 8 of their last 11. But to your point, Ron, these were against some pretty weak opponents. And you still got to give credit. You still got to go out there and you got to win the game. But it was against the Nets, the Magic twice, the Rockets, Raptors without everyone, the Hornets, the Pelicans without essentially everyone, and then the Heat. So again, you have to go out and win those games, but not the best of opponents that the Indiana Pacers went out and faced. And when looking at these 2 rosters, I personally think this Lakers roster is just better. Anytime you have someone like Anthony Davis who's playing at an unbelievable level, the level of basketball that the Lakers expected every single game when he came to this team, more so like during the championship run. And now LeBron James is coming back, and I think this Lakers team understands going forward, this is Anthony Davis's team. I think Anthony Davis needs those touches in the post every single possession. I think he needs that usage. He needs to be the center, being aggressive on the boards for this Lakers team to succeed. And I think they learned that, and I think they understand that now with LeBron's absence and now that he's coming back. When you look at this Pacers roster, everything comes down to Tyrese Halliburton. He's quickly becoming one of my favorite young players throughout the NBA, but everything comes down to him. If he has an off night shooting, this Pacers team isn't going to cover a spread. If he has an off night distributing the basketball, this is a Pacers team that's not going to cover the spread. And their secondary players like Buddy Hield, who, again, he's a very nice outside 3-point shooter, but he's very inconsistent. And then you have someone like Benedict Mathurin, Mathurin's been very nice. He's going to be competing for Rookie of the Year, coming off the bench, a very nice piece again, but he's still a rookie. You got to expect that he's going to have those games where he's going to be inconsistent. And then at the 4, you got Jalen Smith, and then at the 5, you got Miles Turner. So really, how many points are going to come from those guys if Tyrese Halliburton has an off day or anyone along those lines? So because of that, I really do like the look of this Los Angeles Lakers team. The Lakers are just playing better basketball. I think they have more players who can go out and score the basketball. And if your back is against the wall, who can go out and get you a bucket? They have 2 guys. They have Anthony Davis and they have LeBron James. As for the Indiana Pacers, I'm not sure if Tyrese Halliburton is one of those guys who can go and get you a bucket if your back is against the wall. He's more of a guy who wants to facilitate the offense and get other people involved and get open looks. So because of that, I really do like the Lakers. This is a long travel trip for the Indiana Pacers as well, going all the way to Los Angeles, different time zone, playing the Lakers at home. And again, this just comes down to me thinking that this Lakers team is overall better. And like Chuck is with the Utah Jazz, I'm kind of with that with the Indiana Pacers, thinking that they're going to fall off a cliff at some point. They have the 30th toughest strength of schedule throughout the entire NBA, and I think this is going to be a team you're going to be looking to bet against as they start facing tougher competition. Again, they're not very good defensively on top of that, and they don't have that key guy who can go and get you points when your back is against the wall and you desperately need someone to make a shot. So because of that, I'm the Lakers here, -3. I really like this pick.
Yeah, with that said, let's just get straight into the best bet section here, because I'm going to be talking about this LA game here. To me, I think this is just going to be a tough road trip in the West Coast here for the Pacers. Some of the dubs for the Pacers recently have been sort of misleading as well, not only for the Lakers, but for the Pacers as well. Majority of the wins have been against teams that have been shorthanded or the lower tier teams. Interesting note on teams playing Clippers, then Lakers, and back-to-back games in LA too. Dating back to last season, teams visiting a rested Lakers team after playing the Clippers in LA the night before are 1-6 straight up, 2-5 against the spread. In that one straight up loss, the Lakers starting lineup: LeBron James, Russell Westbrook, Malik Monk, Avery Bradley, and Stanley Johnson. So not much to work with there, and that's probably why they got the loss. But I think the Lakers, regardless of who they've been playing, they are picking up some momentum here. They don't have to travel like the Pacers do. They're playing at 7:30 at night. 7:30 at night. So this is going to be a late game for the Pacers if you're looking at them in their time zone. So that time could affect that time, and the travel could affect this Pacers squad. The longer the game goes, I think the line is also telling that the Lakers are favored in a spot against a team that is considered one of the more hotter teams in the league right now, right? Pacers, they might be a strong bet against team during this long Western Conference road trip, and I think that starts tonight. Well, actually, yesterday. The Lakers are also 4-1 straight up and against the spread when facing teams on the second leg of back-to-back games. I think a lot of things to me are pointing towards the Lakers, especially if both LeBron and AD plays tonight. I don't agree with the line movement. I actually don't know why the line is moving in that direction. But for me, I could only look towards the Lakers here. That would be my best bet for today's show. Lakers -3. As far as on the premium side, I haven't posted anything yet, but there are a lot of games to like today. I believe my NBA is starting to pick up here. I think I'm on a 12-4 run or something like that, dating back to last week. After the losing streak that I had. So hopefully, just continue getting the wins and keep kind of going in that trajectory of adding on to the leaderboard here. With that said, Matt, let's go to you next. What's your best bet, and what do you have going on the premium side here?
Yeah, real quick, I just want to say I love that deep dive you did with the Clippers and the Lakers teams facing them in a back-to-back. That was awesome. That makes me feel a lot better too. But yeah, for me right now, I already have 3 or 4 NBA plays already on the premium side. We have talked about some. I did highlight one of those. And I have 2 NFL plays up for tonight as well. So looking to hit that hard. Definitely looking forward to this Monday Night Football matchup. And there's definitely a couple games on this NBA slate that I had circled. And one play that I had circled is Devin Booker over 28.5 points tonight. Devin Booker and the Phoenix Suns travel on the road to face off against the Sacramento Kings. After a scorching hot to the season, Devin Booker has somewhat come back down to earth and has missed this number at 28.5 in 7 out of his last 8 games, and has also missed this in 4 straight games. Devin Booker is a player who averages 27 points per game every single year, and it's kind of one of those numbers when he's hot, he gets it in his sleep, So again, this is just one of those spots like we've talked about before. I love playing spots. I love playing situations. If you've missed 4 in a row, I'm that guy who's going to back you on the 5th. And I love Devin Booker tonight. And then in addition to that, take a look at the Sacramento Kings. They give up a lot of points. They have the 2nd ranked overall offense throughout the NBA and the 28th ranked defense in points per game. So this is a team that you can very much go after. A guy like Devin Booker, he hasn't been shy in terms of taking his shots either. Even though he's missed this number in 4 straight games, he has taken 95 shots in those past 4 games. Honestly, I don't know how he's been missing. You got to shoot pretty bad to take 95 shots in 4 games and miss in each of those games. He's shooting 34% over those last 4 games and is typically shooting 46% on the season and 36% from 3. With that type of volume and now facing a team like the Sacramento Kings who like to get out and run, they're a pace-up style basketball team. And again, one of the worst defensive style basketball teams in the entire NBA. The Phoenix Suns are still without Cam Johnson. They might still be without Chris Paul. So again, this is Devin Booker's game to get right against the Sacramento Kings. It's almost a pick'em spread on top of that. So it's not one of those games where you have to worry about blowouts or anything like that. And this could be one that we definitely see get up there in the points on top of that. So because of that, the volume is there. The opportunity is there. Devin Booker is an all-star in this league. I'd be very surprised if I saw him miss this number 5 times in a row. So I'm going to back Devin Booker here at 28.5 points, going with the over. Mute.
Hey, Ryan, you're on mute. Yeah.
My bad. That was a good look because I think the last time we talked about the Suns and Devin Booker, he put up 49 points. So hopefully he does it again tonight. Shout out to Ski Prophet in the chat. Shooter shoot. Hopefully you heard my Lakers breakdown and you're with it as well. But Dr. Chuck, your turn now. Best bet and what you got going on the premium side.
Yeah, as always, we have tennis plays. There's tennis all year round. I love Matt's passion for this because I get so much of myself when he talks because he's excited about a Steelers-Colts standalone Monday night game. That's fantastic. That reminds me of how him and I both end up watching the dumbass NBA 5:00 Eastern game on Saturday when there's college football happening. We both watching that game and texting each other and realizing nobody else is watching that. They put it on Saturday at 5 for a reason. But yeah, so I like where Mitch's head is at. I'm going to a guy we haven't. I always do props, and the props on the show I don't think we've missed, or maybe we missed once, but I haven't gone with this guy yet this season. He's normally a guy in the past that we have gone with a lot, and wanted to see what he's going to get with a full season. And we're looking in Denver tonight with Jamal Murray. Matt mentioned this with his play on the Rockets. I loved that play on the Rockets, was on that as well. Didn't know it would be such a drubbing, in fact, and brings me to the point of the fact that Shea, the Rockets are bad on defense. They're pretty decent on offense in general. They can definitely go through some shooting slumps. But they allow just the opponent to just go insane. And this play I already have up. So if I don't get this all dead right, I've talked enough already. So if I don't get it all dead right, I'm sorry. But just the last 7 games, the Rockets have allowed 40 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists to the opposing one spot. Now, that's not just the guy. That's the spot. That's what they allow the point guard to do. Here's part of why. Shea only played 3 quarters in that blowout loss. He scored 32 points. The game before that was against the Hawks, where they let Trey score 44 and DeJounte scored 39, whoever you want to consider the point guard there. The game before that, Steph scored 33 and Klay scored 41. Whoever is playing against the opposing 1-2 guards, whoever is going to have the ball, sometimes Jokic has the ball and facilitates, which can be for Murray. I like Murray over the 18.5 points here. I think he scores in the 20s. I like him over the 28.5 PRA. I think this goes flying upward. You may have to lay him 20 points and 30 on a combo, but I think that's pretty simple. The game before that, Luka was out, and Tim Hardaway Jr. scored 30 points. So, I mean, this is a guy, he's missed 3 of the last 4 games, but he came back last game. He had a 30% usage rate, and he shot 9 of 21. I love the way he's looking. He looked pretty great in that last outing, and he should just accidentally, he gets to the line, he finds open shooters, he can draw the double team. He's got Jokic who draws the double team, and then he finds the open shooters. This is just an accidental 19 points because of the way Houston plays. And Houston allows one of the worst, but better for your bet, effective field goal percentages. And they're coming off of an effort where they allowed only a 44% EFG to the Thunder. And so it's kind of like Matt says, you played shitty 4 games in a row. I'm taking you on the 5th. If you play defense out of your mind against the Thunder in that spot, who were riding high off of their recent win, I think it's ugly tonight. But I also think the Rockets, in the way that the Nuggets are playing so far, I think that we're blowout proof here. I don't think we have to worry about that. Famous last words, I know, but I think we can get this through 3 quarters either way and be fine. Like I said, Shea played 3 quarters and scored 32 points. And so I think this is pretty low hanging fruit. So I'm hoping we're not being duped by something. If he's going to play, he's going to start. It's not going to be any kind of a surprise inactive. He played last game and he should be fine tonight. So let's hope we put out 3 winners there. And obviously we all love the Lakers. So I hope that works out well too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think
playing, right?
80, I believe so. I mean, right now what I see is questionable, but a lot of the reports are looking more like he's going to play.
And they've been saying for games that this was going to be the day. So
yeah, something like that. So
I think that's why.
It's always funky with the injury reports in the NBA right now. So I mean, if you're worried about AD playing or not playing, I would say just wait for the proper line, right? Just have, because regardless, I think the Lakers should be able to get this one. Yeah. So with that said, guys, broke down 3 games. We got some best bets there, including some props from Matt and Dr. Chuck. Man, I liked everything that we talked about today. Obviously, we didn't all agree on all the games, but I think the biggest thing for us is to understand how we look at these games, different angles, different analytics that we look at, different situational spots, and that's the key to really helping everyone else become betters as well. just a lot more knowledge from 3 different cappers who look at the games different ways. So
exactly.
Hopefully we get the dubs tonight, the wins tonight. Good luck to everyone who's playing the Monday night football game, as well as the World Cup match that's starting in 5 minutes. Let's go Uruguay. Hopefully they get the dub tonight, today. With that said, guys, we'll see you on Wednesday. Good luck with all your action until then. Peace.